Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for tuning into the video today, much appreciated. And today I'm going to sort of pick up where I left off a couple of days ago. I've been talking about bait casting reels as far as what to look for when you buy them, getting good values. And then yesterday I did one on how to correctly oil a bait casting reel. You can check those videos out by going back to my YouTube homepage, check those out. And today I'm going to give you guys tips on how to correctly oil a spinning reel, which is a little bit different. And man, I'll tell you guys something else. After yesterday's video, when I did the bait casting reels, I think probably half the people that watched that video, they sounded like they worked at a reel repair shop, or they were armchair reel repair people or whatever. I got so many comments about, no, you need to do it like this way. That's not the way to do it. It's called the worm gear. You need to use grease here and this and that. So it was funny reading through there. It's sort of like, if I gave you guys a recipe for an apple pie or something and you say, man, that's ridiculous, Randy. You don't use 1.5 cups of sugar, you use 1.25 cups of sugar. You should know that. That's just ridiculous that you would say that it takes 1.5 cups of sugar. So anyway, how I'm going to counter that about all the criticism I got or the critique I got on the reel, guys, I have spent 150 days on the water, probably maybe more on average over the past 35 years. Every one of those days on the water, I probably made 1,500 to 2,000 casts with the bait caster. So do the math on that. 35 years times 150 days times 2,000 casts a day. The technique that I gave you as far as oiling a reel is what works for me. It's something I've used for decades. I've had no problems with it. So I just want to clarify that. There's a lot of professional or amateur reel experts out there if you want to look through some of those comments yesterday. But I'm going to show you guys what works. I'm going to show you guys what works for me and always has worked for me. And that's what I do here on this channel, guys. Whether you agree with what I say or not, it's irrelevant. I'm just sharing with you guys what works for me, what I've proven to myself, and I'm just passing it on down the line to you guys. So you can do with it what you want. I'm just trying to help everybody catch some hogs out there. Okay, so let's, hey, one quick thing I want to remind you guys, a little housekeeping here, is you guys know I'm working with BoatWorks. One of the things I want to remind you of is the Summit financing that BoatWorks offers. They've got a financing company that is run through the dealership. They can finance any boat. If you buy it off a friend, if you buy it off of them, if you buy it off another dealer, they can help finance that boat. And if you guys go through BoatWorks, as far as with the Summit financing, if you just mention my name, when you call them, you get a $100 gift certificate to the tackle store, BaitWorks. So that's really a good deal. And I'll include that in the link. I'll include the Summit financing link in the description, and I'll also include the BaitWorks link. So if you'd like to order something from their online product catalog, the channel here gets a small percentage of those sales, which really helps out. So that's a good way to support the channel. Okay, let's get into this spinning reel lubrication here. I'm sure I'm going to get some blowback on this, guys. I'm sure that somebody's going to say, no, this is wrong. Randy doesn't know what he's talking about, lubing reels. But this is what works for me, and I think it'll work for you too. So anyway, let's look at the spinning reel here. This is the spinning reel I use. This is a Lew's TLC 3000. What I'm going to show you here is going to work on any spinning reel, so I'm not here pushing Lew's. This is just whatever you want to use. One thing that, guys, I would say about a spinning reel, as far as just sort of off the subject, when you look for a spinning reel to buy, make sure that you get the 3000 size, because the 3000 size has a larger spool on it, and that larger spool will allow you to handle a little bit larger diameter pound test line, and also the larger spool will allow you to make longer casts, which is really critical. So go with that 3000 series spool. Okay, so anyway, I got my same deal, my same oil here, the Lucas oil here. I don't know how much it matters. That's just what I've done good with. Start out with regular lube on the handle here. This is something that's sort of overlooked, but you want to get this handle on here lube, because you want to get that. You don't want any friction on this. One of the good things about a spinning reel, it's really feel oriented. So I'm sure you guys have noticed, if you've ever gotten like a piece of line, or say it gets a little dry there, it gets a little tight, even the slightest bit of tension or friction on this thing will alter the feel you have. So make sure this thing's really lubed up good with there. Second thing I do is I want to lube the bail here, because you want to make sure this bail clicks over really good. So I go in there, lube both sides of the bail where it moves right there, and go back and forth with like that. And as far as the bail, I do both. Sometimes if I'm making a long cast like a jerk bait, I'll just I'll engage it with a reel. Other times, you know, I just pull it over with my hand, say if I'm using a shaky head or something. So I use both, but I use this a lot, so I definitely want to lubricate, you know, those moving parts there. Next part's really simple, is you take the drag off the top here, remove the spool, and then you got your spindle. It goes up and down there. Actually, I've got some fishing line on that thing. I'll have to get out there. So you got the spindle that comes up and down. Now you can see here, if you look close, there's some grease on there. But one of the things that I found, guys, is the grease comes from the factory like that. I've had no problem, and I'm sure some guys are gonna say you're wrong on this, Randy, but I've had no problem just taking and just sort of coating that length of that up and down with reel oil. And this reel right here is almost 4 years old, and that's all I've ever done with it, just like that. It's just, I've never put any grease on it. I've just used the reel oil. It works really good there. But I'm really critical to make sure this is really oiled up right here. Specifically, if you have a day where it rains all day. If you guys have ever noticed once in a while on a spinning reel, if it rains all day long on your equipment, it can get a little tight. I don't know what it is, it gets a little tight. But taking that spool off of there and giving it just a little shot of oil really will help quite a bit there. So that's pretty simple. I mean, that's about all I do on the spinning reels. It doesn't require as much as a bait caster. You know, just a little bit of maintenance right there. It does really good. You know, sometimes I'll put a little shot on the inside, but not much here. But that's my system with it right there. I'm sure a lot of guys have a different system, but this is what works for me. And I've got some really old reels here. Let me show you guys some of my old ones here to show you how long I've done it. If you can, this right here, I just got some new reels. This reel right here, and if you can see it, this is an old BB1's BB1 speed spool. This reel was 7 years old, and I had 10 of them that were 7 years old. I never did anything to these things, to these reels, other than using the technique that I told you about. All the recommendations those guys said I was doing it wrong. Well, these reels right here, they've lasted me over 150 days a year for 7 years on the tour. Never had any problem with them. So that's a pretty good testimonial as far as for the oil on there. So anyway, that's how I do it, guys. Nice and simple. Just get you just a regular can of oil. Maintain it regularly. You know, don't use too much on it, but just do it regularly. And keep your reels clean. One of the things I'll do is I'll take a paper towel, I'll spray my reels down with a Windex or something like that to keep them clean. And that's just what works for me. There may be other systems out there that you're going to hear about, but I've had no problems with this. I've had, top performance out of all my reels, no problems. And I think it'll work the same for you guys. So anyway, thanks for tuning into the video. Much appreciated. We'll be back soon with another one. See you.